Hi, guys. Welcome back to Confessionals with Julie Renee. Grab your tea, coffee, or whatever brings you comfort, and let's have an honest conversation. Today's confessional: I've parted ways with my family and escaped the generational prison. Okay, so let's talk about it. And I will say that this episode, this conversation, for me is targeted towards Black men specifically because I'm a Black woman. I grew up in a Black family household. I'm not sure how other cultures do things. So I'm just speaking from the Black experience. But if this resonates with you, great. So we've all heard the term of generational curses. I like to use the term generational prison because that's what it is to me, where behavior that shouldn't be acceptable is acceptable because it's your family. For some reason, we won't take disrespect or rudeness, all those things from strangers or friends or whoever, but because someone is family, that gives them the okay to be disrespectful, to violate us, and it just is. And we're not addressing things such as pedophiles in family, where everybody knows there's an uncle, there's a cousin who's inappropriate with children or the young ladies in the family, and sometimes the young men. And nobody talks about it. We just pretend like it's not happening, and yet we still allow children to be around those people. We know how there's a lot of people in the family that like to gossip and spread lies, or just whatever it is in our family that we just put up with, allowing people to talk to us any kind of way, disrespecting us, just all because it's family. And like I tell my mom, that doesn't make it right. I don't care. And I have pretty much severed like relationships with all my family except for my mom and my stepdad. And even with that, there's strong boundaries in place. You know, my mom's of that generation. She just is who she is. And I love her. I respect her. But I make it clear about what I will allow in my life. And it took me a while to get to that point, just in general with family. I know it feels unfortunate when you feel like you don't have great relationships with your family or when you're not talking to your family. But the thing is, sometimes great sacrifice comes with change. That just is what it is. If we keep tiptoeing around things and not speaking about things and not speaking up for what's right, then we're going to continue to be in this generational prison, continue to hand down the same values and basically just keeping secrets and not speaking out and telling the truth for fear of what may happen, or you don't want your family to dislike you or to turn against you. And honestly, if I could have sacrificed relationships that doesn't even add value to my life in the first place and only brings stress, then so be it. I'm okay with that. It just is what it is. Like, if we want change, we have to do something different. And you have to tear down the old to get the new. So by just being complacent and just going along with it because you don't want to offend, you don't want to rock the boat, you're just going to keep repeating the same cycle. And there's usually always one in each family who is the black sheep because they won't stand for it. And I just happen to be the one in my family. But if there were more of us that speak out against this type of behavior, we wouldn't have to worry about having black sheep or outcasts in the family. Take it from someone who's rocked the boat and become the outcast, you will survive. And the thing is, when you speak up and you go against it, what happens is you create a new trajectory for your lineage. Because, like I said, if you keep doing the same thing, it continues to go on and on, generation after generation. But if you got to sacrifice a few relationships or even your whole family to build a new legacy for your lineage, I say that's well worth it. Where you can look down the line, your kids, your grandkids, your great grandkids, and they're living a completely different life where they're safe to be with family. They don't have to worry about the Uncle Charles or the weird cousins that's being weird or being mistreated by family and being taught that it's okay. Although you wouldn't let a stranger off the street talk to your kids the way some of these aunties and family members talk to us. Like, literally, I have my aunts, my mom included, telling like cousins how they should raise their kids and they shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that, and judging them and making them feel bad just because they don't raise their kids in the same way that we were raised. And I mean, it's like, you can't tell me nothing. I've seen how you raise your kids. I was raised by your generation. Like, to me, it's just nonsense. It's like at some point you have to stand up, stand for something, and quit just flying under the radar just to keep the peace. Keeping the peace changes nothing. You have to be radical about change. And unfortunately, there's just not a lot of us, enough of us, that's doing it. So I say this to say that we have to be the change that we want to see. People say they hate seeing Black families torn apart because of this reason, people not getting along, or if you tell the truth. But it's going to just be a period of time when that's happening, whether it's for years or a decade. But at some point, it will balance itself out, because with that generation that it dies with. So as you're creating a new trajectory for your lineage, that changes. And in the future, we won't have to worry about being torn apart or, people not getting along. Like, yeah, you're not going to always agree on things, but it don't have to be the way that it is. And we have to learn to create our life and live our life that's going to make us happy, because there's a lot of us who live our life a certain way for appearances because we're worried about what family will say, whether it's your aunts or your parents or cousins or whoever. But no one gets to live my life for me. So no one should get to live your life for you. You got to quit worrying about what people are saying or how people may feel. People are going to judge. No matter what you do, good or bad, people are going to judge. So you just have to get comfortable with that. I definitely have over the years, and I've always been rebellious in that way. Because I'm telling you, there was a 10-year period where I didn't even have a relationship with my mom. We didn't speak. We weren't in contact at all. We were estranged. So for me, if I could cut my mama off, I don't, it's easy to cut these other people off, because like, what are we doing? If I gotta feel stress or feel anxiety when I see your name pop up on my phone, we don't need to be in contact. If every time I'm around you, I feel like you're being shady or you just got this old school mentality that making me feel bad because I don't want to live the same way that you do, or maybe I don't have the same belief systems that you do, and you're trying to ingrain and force like that old mentality and generational stuff on me. I don't want to be around that. Like, who I'm trying to live my life and have fun and be free and do what feels good to me, no matter what that is. As long as I'm not bringing harm to anybody else, it shouldn't matter that I don't agree with or want to live my life the way that you feel that I should. So, Black women, we got to start speaking up. We have to put our foot down with these matriarchs in our family. That's fine. If you want to feel that way, if that's how you want to live your life, that's cool. But don't try to force it on me. We have to protect the children or our family from these weird cousins and these weird uncles. We gotta start talking about these things instead of just brushing it under the rug or acting like it don't matter because the family will get together. I'm usually a topic of discussion. Somehow always get back to me or people worrying about what I'm doing or got a problem with me just because I'm telling the truth and they don't like it. But we're not talking about how your brother is a pedophile, how most kids don't even feel safe around him, but people bringing kids around like it's okay. And it's like, no, like that's not okay. It just saddens me that we're allowing this. And women, we have so much power. We have been lied to and we have been led astray by the patriarchy, but we are the ones that have the power. Why do you think they have to fight so hard to uphold patriarchy? Because it's not it's not normal. It's not natural. At one time there was a matriarchy and we were the ones that was in charge and taking care of things. We didn't need men to take care of us. They just kind of was like a byproduct. But we are the ones who have the power. So that's why we have to start taking accountability and quit allowing this kind of behavior. And I'm not telling everybody to go cutting their family off. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is start using your voice. When you see something that's not right, when you hear something that's not right, speak up. Protect the children, protect yourself, protect your mental health. And women, if you don't want to have kids, don't have kids. If you don't want to get married, don't get married. Because some of these aunties and grannies and stuff, that's the road that they send you down because they feel like that's what you're supposed to do. And I understand because in their time and their generation, that's what they did because most women didn't have a choice. You know, they couldn't vote, they couldn't work. But we're in 2026. This world is so different. If you don't want to be attached to a man, you don't have to. Most women out here creating businesses, working in corporate, good jobs, whatever it is that you're doing, like you don't have to. And if you happen to get pregnant and have a kid, you don't have to marry the man. You don't have to be with the man if he's not a good fit for you. Sometimes things happen, like that's life. But a lot of times women end up in horrible relationships because they don't want to be judged or they don't want to have a kid out of wedlock. Like that, even that term itself is like so crazy. That's so old. Like you don't need a man to raise a child if that just happened not to be the circumstances for you. Back in the matriarch days, we were a community to one another. And we have gotten so far away from that. We have to start building communities. It really does take a village, and every woman should have the privilege to have a village. It really shouldn't even be a privilege. It should just be what it is. Like it takes a lot to raise a child. I don't have any children, but I have nieces and nephews and friends that have children. And I see what, that experience is like. And I'm very hands on because it should be a community thing. And a lot of times women end up staying in marriages and relationships with men because they feel like that's the only help they have. And a lot of times, unfortunately, it is the only help. But women, we have the power to change things. We have the power to change so many things. But we actually have to step up, open our mouths, be honest, be truth tellers, and make changes. Like, quit fighting with one another or judging one another or whatever it is, trying to be chosen by a man. So you're fighting with one another and stuff like that while they're basically just doing whatever. Gotta quit taking advice from women who were raised in the 50s and the 60s. It's ridiculous that you think that advice would be applicable in 2026. Like, live your life. Be free from the shackles of the generational prison. Free yourself, darlings. And it's just really sad to me because there are so many women that I know personally who live a very miserable life, but they smile through it. You never know it if you didn't pay attention. they're married, they have these beautiful homes, they have everything that they will want financially, but they're dying on the inside because they're trying to keep appearances and because of the pressure from family to get married and then have kids, and then they have kids with someone that they're no longer really in love with, or maybe they're just not a good fit, but they stay for the appearances of it all. Or the women who's locked into Christianity, the religion, because that's what they were raised to do. And they don't want the judgment of if you believe in something different, or maybe that's not really your thing. It's so many people out here just smiling, and they are really, really unhappy. And to me, that is so sad because people are scared to live in their truth. And because I do live in my truth, that really pisses my family off. But I don't care because it's my life. I have to live it. And I'm not about to be miserable in my life because I'm trying to appease whoever. And then the people I'm trying to appease, like I said, they're not even happy. It's just the craziest thing to me that we live our life trying to appease people who are not even happy, or we're in fear of being judged by people who's doing nothing with their lives. They don't even like their lives. They're miserable, and that's why they sit around and gossip about other people. So for me, if you're not living the life that I would want to live, it ain't shit you could tell me. Nothing at all. So you could feel how you want to feel about me. You could gossip about me and all the whispering stuff like that. But I'm actually happy. Like I love my life. I'm genuinely happy. In the morning when I get up, I'm excited about whatever the day may bring. And I was not always that way. That was not always the case because, like I said, I was in corporate and I was doing what I thought that, I should do as I guess, a good citizen, a contributing citizen to society, and working jobs that I hated, but because, the money was good and they were great jobs, and basically just it was like Groundhog Day, waking up to the same thing over and over and not really feeling fulfilled. And even though I just took a big leap of faith, it was so worth it in the end. Even now, I'm working on these things on a podcast, my creative stuff, but I'm not making any money from this stuff right now. So I'm just working a regular 9 to 5, and I make literally a fraction of what I used to make, but I am so much happier. I swear, it's like my soul is just like, yes, like so thankful that I decided to make the decision that I made. So, guys, you got to get out of this generational prison. Don't let this hold you back from living your life, the life that you really want to live. And I don't care what that is. If you want to be on a pole somewhere dancing half naked, if that brings you joy, do it. Like it doesn't matter if you want to be a nomad and you just going from place to place. Whatever it is that brings you joy. Like women, like who are you aside from being a mom or a boss at work or somebody's wife? Like if you could do anything in the world and not think about money, not think about pleasing anybody, what is it that you would do? Like, really think about those things. Who are you outside of being somebody's mom? Who are you outside of being someone's daughter or someone's sister? Who are you at your core? If you could show up and not care what anybody thinks, how would you show up? Think about those things because that's what really matters. You want to live a fulfilling life, and you can't live a fulfilling life if you're living your life for other people. I know that firsthand. We we definitely should talk about things like this more. And I guess that's why God sent me this direction to start a podcast because a lot of people are scared to be vulnerable and to talk about things like this because they don't want to be judged or it's taboo. But we got to talk about these things. Things will not change or be different if we keep sweeping things under the rug and pretending like everything's okay because it's not. Heal, love yourself, That's how you change the world, by healing, by loving yourself, by putting you first, because you can't give from an empty cup. You can't give when you're in survival mode. You think that you are, but you're not really benefiting anyone, especially if you have children at home. They're not getting the best version of you. And you're listening to your auntie or your granny telling you, like, you got to be strong and to just wipe your tears and push through and keep it going. But that shouldn't be life. That that just shouldn't be life. You should be able to live a full life with your children, full of love and abundance. But it starts within. And I know that from personal experience, the journey that I've been on over the past couple of years with just healing and facing myself. And it's not an easy thing to face yourself, especially when you see the cracks. And I know for me, realizing like I was part of the problem. The way that I allowed people to handle me, because I didn't even handle myself with care and with love. But all that has changed. And because that has changed and I changed internally, my outside world, it has changed so much. And I'm happier than I've ever been, because I don't give a fuck no more what people think about me, what people say about me. I live my life on my terms. I've created my own family. You know, blood is blood, but that don't mean that you have to roll with them. And I know that we have been conditioned to think that was blood, like they're gonna always be your family, and you should just ignore things or pretend like it's not really an issue. But I don't believe in that. I believe in burning shit down to the ground. If it don't work, burn this shit down, create new. You just got to be brave enough and love yourself enough to do it. So that's all I have to say about that. I love you, Black women. We're strong, we're powerful, and I know you can do it. You just got to put your fears aside and not care about what people are going to think of you. And I promise you, life, you'll love it so much more. So if anything that I said today resonate with you, share it with someone, and hopefully it'll help them as well. Until next time.